and welcome to another edition of the Energy Examined podcast, the podcast that discusses the issues facing Canada's oil and natural gas sector with the insiders in the know. I'm Leighton Clausen. Today I'm joined by Lisa Baiton. She is the new president and CEO of the Canadian Association of Petroleum Producers, having begun her role in early May. Lisa joins CAPP with over 30 years' experience working as a business advisor to federal and provincial governments, and most recently, she served on the global leadership team of the Canada Pension Plan Investment Board. Lisa, welcome to CAPP and welcome to the show.
Thanks, Leighton. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. So you've been in your role for about a month now. How would you describe the experience so far?
Well, I like to tell my friends and family that my new cocktail of choice is fire hose, but I'm hoping by the time I'm done my first 100 days here at CAPP that I can switch to a cocktail called garden hose.
Well, I hope so too. So you moved from the Canada Pension Plan Investment Board to a National Oil and Gas Industry Association. What inspired you to take on this role?
Well, there's a lot to that answer. Maybe I'll start with stepping back a bit and just, I would say the golden thread in my career has always been choosing roles that somehow contributed to the greater good. And, I personally feel very passionately about the importance of the Canadian oil and gas industry, not only to Canada, but its role in the world. And we're really seeing that now. But, I grew up in Swift Current, Saskatchewan, and in a family that owned a small oil field servicing company. So I really understand at a granular level the importance of the industry to communities, to workers, and to families. But most recently, I spent, over a decade working for the Canada Pension Plan Investment Board, which is, one of the top 10 retirement funds in the world. And, importantly, it's a fund that leaned into the energy transition over a decade ago and is committed to GHG reductions, but still, sees the upstream oil and gas industry as an incredible source of alpha for Canadian beneficiaries and contributors. And they also see the industry as a critical piece of the puzzle in reducing GHG emissions, both domestically on a global scale. So I think, back to your question, I think the industry is in a great position to contribute to the greater good on major issues facing the world today in reducing GHG emissions, in partnering with our allies around the world on energy security, and that's why I'm here.
Well, a lot of work to be done, a lot of exciting work. What are some of your top priorities?
Well, let me start by saying that I understand that the last several years for our industry have historically been the hardest. But we're emerging from that, and I think the world is changing rapidly, and the Canadian upstream industry is uniquely positioned to be secure suppliers of responsibly produced energy, as well as being, showcasing all the good work they're doing as global leaders in GHG emissions reductions, particularly through the advancement of technologies. So in terms of my top priorities and my vision, I think there's a lot of opportunity to focus the efforts of CAPP, in particular with respect to the innovation that is happening, to be a resource to governments globally in meeting NATO and climate change commitments. So expect me and expect CAPP to be a collaborative force in helping governments achieve those goals.
Well, that's a good segue into, some of the challenges you mentioned, but also opportunities. So in your opinion, what are some of those big opportunities that we have as an industry?
Well, again, I think CAPP has an exceptionally powerful platform to bring to bear the expertise of more than 400,000 working Canadians who are responsible for about 80% of Canada's natural gas and oil. And I think, a really key opportunity for us looking ahead is how best we work with the members of CAPP to unlock that knowledge and in turn to work in collaboration with governments and with stakeholders and with other industry partners to support the innovation to reduce GHG emissions and contribute to domestic and global climate change commitments, as well as to develop practical and operationally viable solutions on climate change. And then on energy security, we've all witnessed how the current geopolitical context has brought energy security into sharp focus. And again, I think Canada has a material opportunity to seize here, both in the support of energy security for Canada and, for North American energy security, and globally for our NATO allies. So, I think we have a really terrific opportunity to demonstrate that we are the responsible producers of oil and gas, and we believe that that responsible supply should come from Canada.
So what would you say are the root causes of the energy security crisis the world is facing right now?
Ooh, that's a tough question, Leighton. There's a lot that could go into that, but let me try to break that down into three parts. First, I think context is really important here. And it's really important to remember that the energy industry is just emerging now from its worst period in history. And that was compounded when COVID hit and everything shut down and demand for energy plummeted. Now, secondly, again, with COVID, we're seeing, things opening up and everybody's going back to work and traveling again. And that is causing a rapid increase in demand, particularly after a 7-year period when less money, because of that downturn, was invested in the oil and gas industry. And then finally, we've all witnessed how the current geopolitical context has brought energy security into sharp focus post the Russia invasion of Ukraine, and the spike in energy demand, for good, responsibly produced energy from safe and secure suppliers. And so I would say that's the third piece.
Okay. So in your view, what is Canada's role in helping with the energy security crisis?
So Leighton, I think Canada has an outsized opportunity to define a new path forward for our industry. Our allies and our trading partners, whether it's, in the US or Europe or UK, they're all looking to Canada as a potential provider of safe, secure, and responsibly produced energy. And I think the other thing to really think about here is that we need long-term solutions to achieve both the goals of climate change, GHG reductions, as well as establishing energy security for our NATO allies. And I think Canadian producers are uniquely positioned to be secure suppliers of that responsibly produced energy, and also to work in collaboration with Canadian and global governments on addressing global climate commitments. So, I think finally, probably, Leighton, the last point I would make is that if we can successfully attract new global investment near the levels that we had before the last industry downturn, this next era could position Canada as a global energy power, providing lower emission natural gas and oil around the world.
So you said one of the other biggest challenges is climate change. How would you, how does the industry play a role in meeting the government's climate goals?
Well, Leighton, I think there's an increasing recognition that the technological innovation that is happening within the upstream industry is really going to be critical to meeting Canadian and global climate change commitments. And I'm really delighted with that kind of increasing awareness. For example, the Canadian industry is a leading investor in emissions reducing technology. A good example of the great work that's being done is in carbon capture. Innovations like carbon capture not only help decarbonize industries in Canada, but it's also available to any industry that might want to use it around the world.
Okay. Well, it sounds like we have a lot of opportunity here in Canada. So what does CAPP bring to the table?
Well, as I said, the upstream industry has a critical role to play on both climate change and on energy security, and a terrific story to tell. And my job is to share that more broadly. But I also think there's a lot of opportunity to focus the efforts of CAPP, in particular with respect to the innovation that I talked about, to be a solution-oriented resource to governments in meeting both of those chewy global challenges. So again, expect CAPP to be a really collaborative force in helping governments achieve those goals.
Well, it's really exciting for CAPP. Now, as you look ahead, what are you most excited about for Canada's oil and natural gas industry?
Well, I guess the silver lining in some of the major global challenges that we're trying to tackle, both climate change and energy security, is that there's this moment in time where people are really willing to take another look at the oil and gas industry and really reassess their views on it, at a granular level, the importance of it to their daily lives, the importance of it in terms of ensuring our NATO allies have a safe, secure, and responsibly sourced supply of energy, and also taking another look and seeing all the terrific work that the industry is doing in terms of technological innovation to be a contributor to the climate change solutions. So, again, I'm really excited about that, and I just, ask anyone I'm talking to be open to our story and take another look, and allow me to change your mind if you have a different view, and allow me to let you get loud and proud about what the Canadian industry is doing of importance for Canada and for the globe.
Lots of work to be done and exciting times ahead. So thanks very much for being on the show, Lisa.
It was fun. Thanks for having me, Leighton.
No
Maybe
problem.
we can do it again sometime.
We would definitely be up for that.
All right. Have a terrific day.
Lisa Baiton is the president and CEO of CAPP. Stay tuned for our next Energy Examined podcast. And if you like this one, please share it with a friend and make sure you subscribe on whichever podcast you have. For more stories and interviews on Canada's energy industry, check out our website, context.capp.ca. See you next time.